Ladies and gentlemen, motorsport enthusiasts, welcome back to Formula Racing TV. Welcome back, as always, as usual, with Assetto Corsa Competizione console version for race week number 4 of this season 23 of these championships on ACC. Today, of course, is multi-class first day action, and we're here again at the Nurburgring Grand Prix track layout for assisting what promises to be an exciting evening of racing between GT3 and GT4. I'm Andrea Mattavelli, and I'm glad to welcome all of you again to another quality stream on FRL TV, and I hope you will prepare your popcorn, your dessert, your ice cream, whatever you want to do, because it promises to be a great race today here at the Nurburgring. Of course, as you can see, we are in the final stages of the free practice session that will precede qualifying. Again, will be 20 minutes. The first 10 reserved for the GT4 drivers, the one you're seeing now, busy on the track as well. And also to the drivers, then the next 10 minutes, of course, will be all unleashed for the GT3 drivers. All these cars, all the drivers will be on track 29 between GT3 and GT4, of course, all with one goal in mind: to set the fastest lap time of their class and take pole position for today's 45 minutes race in Germany. Of course, we see now. Let's see now, we are here waiting for the end of the free practice. In GT3, no surprise at all, the absolute dominator, Andrea Marcella, is leading the free practice with a 153.7 on his Porsche, ahead of fellow Italian of the BMW of Domenico Russo, and then Brandon Glover in the Ford Mustang. Brandon Glover in third place ahead of Mirko Tirenna, Stefano Giannelli, Gareth Harvey, then Robert Spagger, Jack Prentice, Overland, Vicky and all the others. While in GT4 for now, there is no Luca Mantero, so waiting if he will be able to join us or not, but it's Kenzo Codoneso from Belgium who is currently fastest ahead of Adam Sharpe, and then Christian Keller, Hungarian, that just took down a billboard stopwatch here on his McLaren. Then it's Vasa Pospisil in Nick Lamming, Sebastien Sherry Moore who will join Kruger in the two Ginettas on the track. And we have, of course, 29 drivers for now on the grid. Hopefully it will be a great spectacle for all involved. And of course, it is a checkered flag now, so these drivers will close their final attempt to settle up time, to gain confidence, to tackle the Nürburgring before the race, which, reminder, will be taken at dawn time. It is 6 a.m. on the game, so the drivers will be seeing the dawn, the sun, right outside of the Mercedes Arena, unless of some clouds, of course. But the most important thing is that they all race clean, they all race hard but clean, and not cause any accident, especially between those lapping procedure, blue flag, that can always be tricky, especially at Nürburgring, even if it's only the Grand Prix track layout. Of course, this will influence also the temperature, 60 degrees now on the air and on the track. We expect to see them raise up for race day, and of course for qualifying that will start in a couple of seconds. Before all of that begins, just a reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to leave a like, and to support our parent channel. It means a lot for us, but it is time now. We now have go for qualifying, and we begin for the first 10 minutes reserved for GT4 category. Christian Keller, the Hungarian on the McLaren, is first out on track. Then will be one of the favorites, of course, always favorites with his AMG GT4, Matthias de Munster, who will be hoping to get a good result after not being present at Auto Park at second place in the opening race at Barcelona. In the same week, it will be the week where we will return to GT action in most of the local series, including ADAC GT4 Germany, where they will race alongside DTM in the next round of the Deutsche Tourenwagen Master Championship, which will be taking place, of course, at Nurburgring. So it is I believe Gordon and Gemmel, the others, have strictly made the calendar, so they want us to take a taste of the GT action, even GT4, and then we'll be able to watch the real thing this weekend at Nürburgring with DTM, GT4 Germany, and all the other series that will be raced near the Green Forest, the Eiffel Forest, near the Nürburgring circuit. And of course, it will be most important appointment, especially for all who driving Mercedes, like Matthias de Munster, Codoneso, Duedel, but also on the GT3 class, Jack Prentice, who is alongside Stefano Giannelli, the representative of the German manufacturer on track for today's race. But enough we were chit-chatting. We're about to begin our first flying laps, and the first to launch himself is the Hungarian Christian Keller, 9th at Barcelona, 5th at Silverstone. The Hungarian wants to dream bigger and wants to aim for a podium finish. Let's see if this will be the right track for it. I know the McLaren, with the right setup, can be really dangerous at all the track. So it will be interesting to see what will Keller be doing. And of course also Matthias de Munster from behind the Belgian is always a heavyweight presence on the grid, especially on the GT4 grid. And the Belgian will be aiming for a great result, to the podium again, maybe a victory without Luca Mantero to really ruin their mission, the party. But for now, all clear, both from Keller and de Munster. The question is, will it be enough to try mount a challenge for pole position? They already done the Max Schumacher S, turn 9 and 10. Now Kumo and Bitkerb 11 and 12. Christian Keller outside turn 12, now flat out to turn 13. Now will launch itself into the Vito chicane, which is not the NGK chicane, because it will be a little bit late, a little wide open compared to the F1 layout. A little bit overdrive from Keller, who wants to push as fast as he can as he approaches Coca-Cola curve. A little bit wide on the exit, and that's not going to be good. It gets 2 tires onto the grass. Let's see how will end up Keller. It is a 2 minute 5.8. More inside of the line. Matthias de Munster, which will aim to get ahead of Keller. Not quite. He did not manage to complete a clean lapping with a try next, but watch out also for Kenzo Codonesu, who aimed for the top and is now fastest with 2 minute 4.8. Keller in second, Smith is third, Serafino Gerbino now in third place on the McLaren, already passed by Nick Lamy behind in the second Mercedes. And look at this, Kruger in the Ginetta, setting up for fifth, but after Marco Poletti took a big attempt to want to fight again for the victory with the second fastest time, only 2 times away from Codonesu. For now, the order is Codoneso, Poletti, Keller, Sharpie, Sherry-Moore, 5th in the second Ginetta on the field, then Lamming, Gerbino, Kruger, Smith, and Tweedle to round out the top 10. But of course, we're still missing some drivers like the Monster, Sebastien, Pospisil, D'Amica, Eliti. The Monster is one to keep watching because you do not want to mess with him to rule it out of podium contention ever. Judging by how the Mercedes is going fast here, thanks to Codoneso, I believe the Monster will have what it takes to aim for the front row at least. Let's see how the Belgian will react, how he will respond after first lap that has been denied, but he lift up. He's not happy about maybe how the car behaves. He stops and he goes back into the pit lane. So not a smooth qualifying so far by the Monster, who's still without a time. And this will be not ideal for him because he will risk of starting from the pit lane. Let's see Kenzo Codoneso now outside of the final corner. Does improve? Not quite. Poletti stops as well. Keller did not improve, in third ahead of Adam Sharpie in the Porsche. The only Porsche Cayman GT4 fielded in the GT4 category. The Britman who went to score a third and a fourth place in the first 3 races will be able to continue the trend and maybe improve those results. Especially now the Luca Montego is not on the grid for tonight's race. Let's see how the Sharpie, it is not the smoothest of the lap. It will stay P5. No, he improves back to P4 because D'Amica in the Mercedes it's P2. P2 from Matteo D'Amica, who only 2/10 behind Kenzo Codoneso. For now, untouchable. But let's see if he will be until the end of qualifying. The Monster has returned to the track, but he will have only one shot to set a lap time. That's good enough to at least let him classify and avoid him a start from the back of the grid. Meanwhile, Kenzo Codoneso out of the S. Michael Schumacher, pushing with the AMG GT4, trying to claim his fourth pole position of the season in the GT4 class. We will have this lap and another, then the 10 minutes will expire, and so the track will be free for the GT3 drivers, who for now are still in the pit lane, but they are ready to rev their engines and get out of track to set the fastest lap time possible and take pole position. Of course, in GT3, all eyes will be on the driver's side to see if it will confirm once again of pole position. But let's see now Kenzo Codoneso in the man feeder of Mercedes. He improves to 4.5. He puts out another 3/10. And so he's rising the bar for everyone else. Let's see if someone can improve. The Monster stops again. And so it's the end of the qualifying. What a disaster for the Belgian. He will start from the back of the grid. Last place. That's incredible, and that's really a shame for him. Tirenda also stopped right at the middle. Kruger stops. It's down his lap. It did not improve. Stays at P8. Serafino Gerbino continues. Vasa Pospisil is now finishing his actual lap. The Czech Republic driver is 7th on his class in the Audi R8 GT4. Let's see if he managed to improve, maybe pass Elite Keller, and he does so. He manages to squeeze into 5th place in the Audi. Great job by Vasa Pospisil. Well, and now Cherry Mori, the Ginetta, 8th place, not bad at all for one of the new faces, I think, of this season in GT4. Meanwhile, Codoneso, D'Amica, Poletti and Sharpie all seemed to have clinched both second row of the grid. The front 2 row are there, but qualifying is over now for GT4. The GT3 machineries are heading out the track. Be respectful, be clean, gentlemen. because now it's time for the beast and for the top tier dogs of this category and of both Formula Racing League to line up the stage here at Nurburgring. Just a little bit of time to closing the final lap with Codoneso being held on by the Audi GT4 and a contact with Mitz. And that will end all attempts by Codoneso. Real disaster for Belgium, for Belgium's wits, and also for his fellow countryman Codoneso. But he might have done everything to clinch the pole position because D'Amica has stopped on the pit lane. Marco Poletti will try to improve, but he's going over driving with almost 2 wheels on the grass and the exit on turn 12. Now turn 13. Don't think Poletti can do something to surprise everything. Maybe the only thing he can do is try to trap D'Amica off a front row, but that will be about it, unless he surprises in the final sectors. A clean exit for Marco Poletti, who runs across the line and he manages to get second place. A front row will be a front row start by Marco Poletti. Other Sharp is also in the pit lane. Valdez Pospisil with one of the last GT4 cars to cut the line, but he does not improve. Next one it will be Cherry Moore in the number 86 Ginetta, but he's out of fuel, so I think the grid is all set up with Codoneso on pole position ahead of Poletti and D'Amica in the GT4 class. And now all the eyes are on Andrea Marcella, dominator of the GT3 category, the queen of all GT racing classes. And Andrea Marcella will be aiming for another pole and another victory in spectacular fashion with the Porsche at Nürburgring. Let's see if he'll manage to do so, and already taking a wide line at the entry of turn 1. And now he enters the Mercedes Arena section, turn 2. With such precision and such flow of the car, it looks like he and the 992 GT3 are one thing only. They're driving together. Turn 3, turn 4, all real precise, really splendid from the Italian, who continues to proceed with his wonderful line. Turn 6, and now into the third curve, turn 7. And oh, maybe too much confident. 2 wheels onto the gravel at the exit of turn 7, but that seemed to have not caused a serious loss of time. But look at this now. The Dunlop curve, the hairpin, inside, out, outside, inside, outside. And Marcel now enters the Michael Schumacher S, turn 9, turn 10, now flat out with such confidence and such calmness. Looks like he's done it since a life. And look at this now. Really clean the exit from big curve, turn 12, now turn 13 for Andrea Marcella. It seems like nothing can stop him on the track. I know I might be glazing my fellow compatriot, but that's what happens. That's what happens when you see a driver that is dominating this season on FRL Racing League, on Assetto Corsa Competizione. And I think also the fans, spectators, drivers speak, so and I agree. And Andrea Marcella, did not set a lap time. Maybe he went a little bit wide, so the time had been cancelled. Meanwhile, Gordon Brown set the fastest time in the Lamborghini before deciding to send it straight to the barriers. That's just a certified moment for Gordon Brown. For now, he's fastest ahead of Domenico Russo and Mikko Tirena. That's a little bit of a surprise. Really well done for the first lap by Gordon Brown, then Domenico Russo, Mikko Tirena, Stefano Giannelli, Greg Harvey, 5th in the Bentley Overland, Jack Prentice in 7th, there's Jack Child in 8th, Gordon Brown for now is still on provisional pole. That was not what I was expecting. I mean, we're still missing a few top dogs like Marcella and Glover, but there's still worth of respect, guys. There's still worth of respect. Petro Postel on the line. It's 8th, the Czech Republic driver ahead of the short and broken. And now we're back with Andrea Marcella, and Wow, already with the commentary for the spectators. Richard Gilman, salute us. Hi, Richard. The Captain Price. Hi, what a good commentary. Thank you, Captain Price. If you like our commentary, if you like our streaming and our work to provide commentary and live streaming from Assetto Corsa Competizione and all the other simulators, just leave a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and remember, subscribe to our Patreon. Become a supporter and help us delivering quality content on sim racing. And German are now out of the final corner. The first lap was like a warm-up and everything else. Now is where things will get interesting. Can he beat Gordon Brown? Can he claim what is rightfully his? And it is as promised. 153.5, 1.7 tenths ahead of Mirko Tirrena, who's not in second place. With Gordon Brown now demoted to third, even with an extraordinary lap. Let's see now if Domenico Russo will overtake him. Brendan Glover is ahead of Brown. Domenico Russo now gets second, 1 second behind Marcella, but 7 tenths ahead of Mirko Tirrena. So a great lap by the Italian man on the BMW M4. Brown now drops down to 5th place. All waiting for the other drivers. Jack Prentice is 6th in the Mercedes ahead of Stefano Giannelli. We have Greg Harvey not improving there over the Charles Postel. Broken, who's out of the final corner. Let's see on the line, Broken, if he improves. Not quite. Is the fastest of the GT3 class at the moment. And another one, Ravensberger is 6th, fastest, behind Gordon Brown, ahead of Jack Prentice. Three minutes left of qualifying. Now Gordon Brown has started his lap. Considering the full pole position, it will be all already decided. Considering Marcella's monster lap time, it will all be a fight now. Who will start on the front row and who on the second row? Even though Domenico Russo has put an extraordinary gap as well on Tirrena and Glover and Brown and all the others. Gordon Brown now into the third curve. Cleared up by him. Really following a good line, Gordon Brown into now the hairpin, turn 8, the Dunlop hairpin. A little bit of oversteer from the rear of the exit, but he managed to keep it steady. He shouldn't have lost any amount of the time there. And look, oh, that could have done it because he went over the curves at the Michael Schumacher S. Now turn 11, turn 12 for Gordon Brown, still pushing. And Marcella still improving, 153.4. The Russo now 1.1 behind. Harvey is 6th. Meanwhile, he managed to take a good advisor of Stefano Giannelli. Slipstream, and he managed to slip him in P6. Gordon Brown now closing the lap. Let's see if he'll manage to overtake at least Brendan Glover. Considering Ravensberger has taken back P6 and is menacing. Not quite. Brown remains P5. Glover, by the way, is still 4th place behind Tirrena. He tries to use the slipstream of a Ferrari ahead. I believe it will be of Beek. Yes, it is. Adam Beek, who's currently 10th. It's probably a good slipstream for now, but he decided to lift it up to a boat because he knows it's not a good lap. He does not want to make disturbance for Brandon Glover. Final attempt. I believe it will be a final attempt because the clock is ticking, and behind him we see the BMW Domenico Russo, who's currently P2. A great lap so far by Domenico Russo. 25 seconds on the clock. Maybe Glover can have another shot, another lap after this one. It depends if how he will push in his final lap. So it is now 10 seconds to the clock. 9, 8, 7, 6. Glover out of the final corner. 4, 3, 2, 1. And Glover manages to take do not take the line and improve to second place. so he manages to jump ahead of Domenico Russo, who unfortunately took the line, so Russo cannot improve further. Brando Glover with a great mind game and tactic analysis managed to make him, to jump him on the front row. Head of Russo, the only one who can stop me. It's Tirrena and maybe even Gordon Brown if he manages to find the lap of his life. Let's see, Brown is now out of the final corner. Brownsberg have a finisher. Brown will not stay more down than P5. He will get a start from P5. He stays there. Now the only one who can represent the real minutes to Glover and Russo. It's Mirko Tirrena on the Ferrari. While Overland and Broken did not and will not make any further improvements. Let's see now Mirko Tirrena, turn 11 and turn 12, a little bit wide. But he's still pushing as always. Now we wait for the final chicane, turn 14 and 15. Let's see how Mirko Tirrena will get over this one. A little bit aggressive, he almost lost it. And he lost it, and it's game over for Mirko Tirrena. He's forced to take to the pit lane. So Brandon Glover will take the front row start. Great performance by the Brickman on the Ford Mustang. Nothing his opponents can do now, considering Overland and Broken had finished their attempts and are now really slow on the track. Glover can only improve his lap time. He does not improve, but he's still a second place, full of respect. The only one now on track is Broken. But it's basically qualifying over. Broken can just improve his lap time. It's 7 tenths away from Marcel's lap time, so his objective will be to move down the 2-minute mark. You can see Jan Broken will finish his lap. Let's see if he manages to at least improve it to go to the 150s instead of the 2 minutes. Now over the line, let's see where Jan Broken will end up. It was 7 tenths. And it's 5.2 now, so a good improvement in the final stint for Jan Broken, who manages to go into the 150s. He will start dead last, but that's not important to him, I presume. And so, here's the final standings, final results of qualifying. Andrea Marcella, once again, with the pole position of the GT3 class, ahead of Brandon Glover, Domenico Russo, Mirko Tirrena, Gordon Brown, Ramsberg, Gareth Harvey, Jack Prentice, Los Schod, Stefano Gianelli to round out the top 10. Reminder also GT4 class, Kendo Condonesu ahead of Marco Poletti and Amica to take pole position GT4 class, then Adam Sharp and pole position candidate Sherry Moore and all of the others. And that's qualifying done and dusted here at Nurburgring. But of course, we're just in the appetizer of this evening program, and now after qualifying we'll be all ready to go for what promises to be an exciting race here for MULTICLASS First Day Championship here at Nurburgring. So a little bit of break now, just a couple of minutes or seconds, and we'll be back in just a matter of time to start the procedures for race day. And we're back on Nurburgring at dawn, 6 a.m. on the game, and we're here for the starting procedures of round number 4, multi-class first day championship series at Nurburgring. Again, Andrea Marcella will start once again from pole position alongside Brandon Glover, then Domenico Russo, Mirko Tirena ahead of Gordon Brown, who managed to clinch a good 5th place on his grid. Then on the GT4 class is Kenzo Codoneso to take advantage of Luca Mantero's absence and take pole position ahead of Marco Poletti, Matteo D'Amica and Alan Schaper with Walter Pospisil in 5th place. It promises to be an exciting race, maybe not on the front for the GT3 considering Andrea Marcella incredible advantage on pure speed, pace, consistency and everything else. And really, his result speak for the server. He was unlucky just this Tuesday at the tackle with a massive race, but when he's up front, it's really difficult for him to commit mistakes. And I'm sure that he will try to redeem himself after what was a Tuesday to forget. And of course, Glover will aim to a first victory of the season to break Andrea Marcella's streak. Let's hope for a clean start and also let's hope for a clean driving also for the GT4. There's a clean lapping procedures when they will come. Reminder, it is a 45-minute race. And that's not what I wanted to do. Damn. Do I have to? Here it is. I'm with Andrea Marcella now. Reminder, it is a 45-minute race with one mandatory pit stop to complete within a pit window that will open after the first lap, basically. And so we're ready to go, racing once more here at Nürburgring for the multi-class first day series. Andrea Marcella on pole, Brandon Glover alongside him from the front row, and then all of the others for the GT3 and GT4 machinery ready to compete and to unleash all the horsepower. Nürburgring, as we wait for the green light, he comes down and we go racing at Nürburgring, and that's a great start by Andrea Marcella, who manages to hold Brandon Glover in turn 1. Let's see if the British man can try a dive bomb. Not quite. He risks to be overtaken by Domenico Russo, who manages to get to the inside, now outside. It is a heavyweight contention between Russo and Glover. M4 against Mustang. Glover and Russo still fighting hard in the Mercedes arena for second place, while Andrea Marcella is free to go whenever he goes. Glover seemingly managing to hold on, but he almost lost it, and that will prevent a good chance for him. So Domenico Russo manages to overtake him, and Domenico Russo is second. Look at Gordon Brown challenging Glover for third place and for the podium spot. A great start by Gordon Brown, who managed to take third place. Great job by him. So it's Marcella, Glover, Russo and Brown, and then Glover and the others, while Kenzo Codoneso manages to hold on the lead in the GT4 category ahead of D'Amica. Poletti lost a place, and then the Sharpie, Keller, Pospisil, Dini, Sherry Boer, Serafino, Gerbino, Kruger, and all of the others. Broken is going a little bit slow. It looks like he's racing in a Carrera Cup, not a GT3 car, honestly. But I believe his objective would be to see the checkered flag and just learn experience from today's race. But Andrea Marcella already flying away, already 1.5 seconds ahead of Domenico Russo, and an exciting Gordon Brown, who manages to jump up 2 places in the start. And so for now, he occupies the podium spot. But for how long? Domenico Russo hits a bollard. It's a cone located right at turn 15. I like overdriving because they put 2 wheels onto the gravel at the exit of the Coca-Cola curb. Marcella fly, but look, oh, disaster for Gordon Brown and for Russo, and both double contact. Brown slamming into the back of the Russo, misjudging his braking spot, and then Russo with the car ungovernable hits back Gordon Brown, and so that's a great present to Brandon Glover, who is now second now second with a great advantage now over Mirko Tirena, who jumps up into third, but what a mistake by Gordon Brown. He had a great start and he got to a Danilo, but a misjudgment in the braking spot of turn 1. And that will lead to even a bigger advantage now by Andrea Marcella, who will end T1 with over 4 seconds of advantage on Brandon Glover. Incredible, that's incredible. That's a shame also by Gordon Brown Russo, who were really eager to give the best impression today. Domenico Russo is in P8 now, behind Gareth Harvey, while Brown, I fear he decided directly to call it quits. A bad spot, almost done the same thing at turn 11. Another big emergence to avoid a jump at the last moment, while shot behind the fence from Overland. I think someone clearly did not train very well on this night race condition, because that's what they are now. Meanwhile, the GT4 is all clear for Kenzo Codoneso, who's leading from D'Amica, then Poletti, Sharp, Keller, and Pospisil. And Pospisil, speaking of which, is now behind the Hungarian Christian Keller, battle for fifth place in the GT4 class. And also watch out for Sherry Moore and Prentice, with Luke Prentice trying to get a hold on the Ginetta and overtaking him on the straight, back to the top speed of the Mercedes. And let's see now, Pospisil Keller, he exited a lot more faster in there. After color curving, will try maybe turn 1, not quite. Well, Sherry Moore really cannot do anything with the lack of engine horsepower. Luke Prentice gets the position on him. No problem at all. That's the downside of driving a Ginetta at all times in GT4. Meanwhile, after what happened here, Mirko Tirena continuing to put pressure on Jack Prentice, was 2 steps away from the Ipswich driver, but now it's 6 steps the gap, and Ramsberger is trying to catch them. It's now 3 tenths. Ramsberger. Let's see Domenico Russo, who you can see has quite some damage at the back of his car after the hit of Gordon Brown. Russo will try to recover this race. Reminder that it's possible to pit now and claim the mandatory pit stop, but I think it's still too early, unless they're really in a heavily compromised situation. And of course, Nurburgring is not very easy to claim overtakes. It wasn't this layout on any kind of track, especially Formula 1 and also GT3 racing, because you really have only a few opportunities. One on turn 1, maybe even the Mercedes Arena in case of mistakes or everything, and then one at turn 8, because the chicane turn 14 and 15 is really faster than the handicap chicane. So he does not provide them with any experience, any real chance whatsoever. And while for now Harvey holds on Russo, let's head back to GT4 a moment. Pospisil still hunting down Keller for 5th place, while Lamming decided at this time for his mandatory pit stop. He was very far behind in the GT4 class, so it's just a desperation move to try to trigger a chain reaction and try to gain thanks to the free track ahead of them. look a little bit wide, possibly a little bit too deep on the brakes. It's not easy to follow a car here at the Nurburgring, and possibly is proving my point because it really is trying to push on the Keller, but to no fortune whatsoever. Oh, mistake by Tirrena, a mistake by Mikko Tirrena. I don't know what happened. He was fourth and now he's fallen down to P10 behind even Petra Postol. While Domenico Russo managed to overtake Harvey, and now we'll try on the outside of Gianelli, turn one. Can he manage to hold it? Can he manage to hold it? No, but there was a bold brake move by Domenico Russo, who's still in P6. While Tirrena now will try the outside of Mercedes Arena on Postol after a mistake. And he almost collected the Postol and sent him into spinning, while Gordon Brown confirmed on private chat that it was a user error, unfortunately. Brake too late and hit him, and I'm sorry to hear that, Gordon Brown. A real misfortune for you and for Domenico Russo. I hope you bounce back in the next round, which just to inform you that the next week will be racing at Zandvoort in time for the Dutch Grand Prix weekend of Formula 1. I told you, they really, with great care, great hand care, they really put up a calendar to match up with the real races in the motorsport world. Anyway, oh, look at first blue trap proceeded, a Mercedes GT4 of Lemming, who done the first mandatory pit stop. Is now between the Post, Tirrena, Lachaux, Overland. Not the best way. Look, Lachaux, Overland lost a little bit of time. Let's see if Overland can take those advantage to claim a position. Not quite, but watch out also by Domenico Russo on Stefano Giannelli. It's fight for fifth place, and now Russo is closer than ever to the rear of the Mercedes of the Italian. Domenico Russo will try of the dive bomb of the last moment, turn one. Domenico Russo, Stefano Giannelli, can he hold the line? Can he protect from the switcheroo of Giannelli? Yes, he can. And Domenico Russo manages to retake a fifth place ahead of Giannelli. Great overtake, but Giannelli tries to fight back, and contact between Russo and Giannelli. And Russo is forced to go wide and lose the position. Russo will not be happy about that at all. And in fact, he flashes Giannelli multiple times, then to say, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? That's ticket material, unfortunately, I fear. While Russo has to worry now about Harvey, because he jumped behind him after the contact, the ram of Giannelli. While the post pit goes to take his first mandatory pit stop, I believe that's a tactic to try to have the best on Keller. So you try with the undercut, following what Lemming did a couple of laps earlier. But the post pit will hope to not enter in the middle of the GT3 cars passing by. Lucky for him, seemingly he will have the leader GT3 car of Andrea Marcella passing now to the start of the 7th lap. That will be Brendan Glover. And Pospisil will now join, I fear, behind Brendan Glover. Yes, it is. It's behind Brendan Glover. All clear for Pospisil. Will have a lap, maybe two of a free track before the rest of the GT3 pack comes down. And for now, none of them are taking any pit stop maneuver. So 33 minutes less yet to remain in this race. And for now, it's Marcel leading ahead of Glover, practice the GT3 category, while Cotoneso is leading in the GT4 category ahead of D'Amica Sciappe. But now we'll focus. We'll go to Gareth Harvey, the cousin of legendary Tim Harvey, who's now driving the Bentley Continente as he's following Giannelli Russo in the battle for P5. Do we have the Bentley? Come on, have the Bentley, have the Bentley. Where is it? Here it is. On board with the Bentley over Harvey. This Harvey trying on the Giannelli. He tries with early move, but Giannelli is braking late, and now Harvey trying his best to keep it on track, but it's not easy for Harvey and also Giannelli as they still fight. While Ramsberger is now approaching Jack Prentice and will ignite the duel for third place for the last step of the podium. Prentice and Ramsberger. Look at this, how really close is following. That's Ramsberger, the Swiss driver. That's who's now really putting pressure on Jack Prentice in the battle for third place. For Lars Ramsberger, I believe this is his first race. His season debut in multi-class first. It is. So he has all the reasons to do well already from the start to go. While Prentice is trying to maintain second place and third place in the championship, but for now he will fall behind Brandon Glover, who's ahead by a distance. But Jack Prentice is doing such a good job because he's ahead of all of the others, especially Mikko Tirana. The tire made a mistake that could cost him the lead for the body spot in the championship. Look, Ramsberger trying to undercut. Ramsberger with the undercut option Prentice. He goes straight into the pit lane, and it is mandatory pit stop also for the Swiss driver. Let's see if someone will join. Not quite for now, it's only Ramsberger. All of the others are heading to the straight. Even Potter and Tirana. Tirana, who will be angry for his mistake and will try to claim back the positions. We want the Munster, who has to really build his race after a disastrous qualifying. Has finished his pit stop and is not moving. The Munster is not moving. Don't know what happened here, but the Munster is not moving. Hopefully that's it from the pit lane. Otherwise, we might lose one of the top drivers in the GT4 class season so far to forget. The Munster exits now the pit lane after a small delay to procedures. He's also below DT and Lamming, so Tuesday to forget so far for Matthias the Munster. And look at Kenzo Cotonezu, the race leader of GT4, is into the pit stop. Let's see where he will end up and how will D'Amica and Poletti react to the Belgian pit stop, to the first move of the evening. Also Smith comes into pit lane. And so far the GT4 drivers are all really distant between each other as we are halfway through I believe. No, not quite, not quite. But we're entering the midway point of the race. Let's head back to Mikko Tirena for now, considering he's still trying to put pressure on Petra Postel in the fight that for now is valid for 8th place. Look at Tirena really pushing Petra Postel, really trying his best to claim the position on the Czech Republic driver, the duo of the Ferraris. All waiting for the chain reaction of the pit stop that will arrive presumably in a couple of minutes. I don't know, so maybe someone will make the move earlier. And so we are able to see the drivers who already made a pit stop, especially GT4 category with Codoneso now 24, and Postel who tried undercut all color. Also Ramsberger or Jack Prentice. That was the battle for third place. And for the podium spot, let's see now Tirena if he'll manage to gain some field. Move on Postel. It seems that he's not capable for now of getting any much closer on Postel. He's doing a good job so far. He's doing a clean race so far. But look out, because ahead of them there's the Lamming and the GT4. Lamming gets out of the way. He does not want to lose any more time to him and to the Ferrari drivers in the GT3. As we'll see another GT4 class. No, it is the Ferrari Adam Bick. While Loshoda comes into the pits, the Frenchman was a P11. Look, Tirena trying with the aggressive line, the aggressive switcheroos, but it's not working out. He almost risked to losing it on the grass. At this point, I believe pit stop will do better for him, unless Postel stops ahead of him. Well, Harvey on Prentice. Prentice, it's still fighting with Harvey. Harvey cannot find a way to make a move on the Dunlop curve. And what happened to Prentice, because he was being ahead of Gianelli Russo, and he lost a couple of places now. Stefano Gianelli third place. For now, Ramsberger could be third after all the mandatory pit stop. Look out for a McLaren GT4 who was between the way between Prentice and Harvey. Now we have a quick look to Adam Bick, the Verstappen.com Racing, Emil Fry at Ferrari. Hello Tirena. Tirena who managed to overtake Postel finally for 8th place. And now Poletti, the GT4 class, decided it's time for the pit stop. And Jack Prentice comes into the pit lane as well. So this could be a first really interesting verdict, because Prentice was fighting with Ramsberger. He lost a couple of places, but I believe he was lost to Ramsberger, who's now turned 12. And he's pushing now to jump ahead of Jack, and possibly for third place. Ahead of him, now the GT4, I believe. Yes, I believe it is Smith. Yes. Ramsberger had no problem a little bit. but nothing he can handle. Remember to lap the audio speeds, the GT4. Prentice is still stopped onto the pit lane. He restarts now, but Ravensberger has already overtook him, so Ravensberger takes the place of Prentice. And we're on the halfway mark of this race. Ravensberger ahead of Prentice. That's a first verdict. That could mean Ravensberger could reach the podium if he does not lost it in Mercedes Arena. Watch out for the tires. But yeah, continues. When Glover comes into the pits, Brandon Glover stops in second place. Let's see if others will follow him or not. Stefano Giannelli, no. Domenico Russo, no. Aginetta GT4 ahead, yes. The one of Jerry Moore, and Harvey also comes into the pits. Look, almost doing a Sebastian Vettel. Harvey overtaking the GT4 driver before the pit entry line. Glover, Harvey, Beek into the pit lane. And also Sharpie, Prentice, Gerbino, and Sherry Moore. So now pit lane is getting busy. It's getting certainly busy. And let's see how will it unfold, especially for Lars Ravensberger, the Swiss driver, who already overtook Prentice. Glover already finished his pit stop. He certainly did not decide for change of tires, even considering the low temperatures of the Dome at Nurburgring. Let's see Harvey behind Ravensberger. Harvey's behind Ravensberger. Let's see if he will be behind. No, ahead. No, Harvey is ahead of Prentice. Harvey is ahead of Prentice. Jack Prentice, of course. So that could be, if I'm not mistaken, 5th place for Harvey ahead of Prentice. Because it will be Marcella. Marcella into the pit now. Just for top, because Marcella was of another category, as always. Aggressive driving from Stefano Giannelli, Domenico Russo, laps Keller. D'Amica into the pit lane in the Mercedes GT4. It could be interesting to see where he will end up between Kenzo Codonesu, Marco Poletti, Adam Sharpe. This is right for the podium, and he goes a little bit deep. He lost some valuable seconds on the pit lane. Kenzo Codonesu is exiting turn 12, and now approaching turn 13. Codonesu will jump, I presume, ahead of D'Amica. I believe also Poletti will be ahead. But we'll see if D'Amica will be able to hold on or sharp Balsfeld to claim at least a pole spot. D'Amica already finished his pit stop right when Codonesu is closing on the straight. So Codonesu takes back the net lead of the race. D'Amica rejoins the track. Let's see now ahead of behind Marco Poletti. But D'Amica conserves third place and a podium finish in his cart. Glover also comes into the pit and exit. Let's see where he ends up. Glover, where is Ravensberger? He's ahead of him. Ravensberger is ahead of Glover. And Glover has also finished behind Harvey. So at this point, if Russo and Tirrena do not gain a lot amount of time, Giannelli and Russo get a lot amount of time on the others, I think the podium will be Marcella, Ravensberger and Harvey. Maybe Marcella, Ravensberger and one between Giannelli and Russo. It depends whenever Stefano and Domenico decide to come into the pits for their mandatory pit stop. Tirrena into the pit lane. Postal in the pits as well, alongside Keller. So it all started to unfold, especially in the GT4. Keller is the last driver in the GT4 category to come for his mandatory pit stop. While the GT3, after Tirrena and Postal, it's only Gianelli, Russo and Overland who are yet to do their mandatory pit stop. Keller is stopped, Codoneso will reclaim the lead of the race. Poletti D'Amica will reclaim their podium spots. Yeah, all as a program. Tirrena rejoins the track immediately. Let's see where Tirrena ends up. It is behind Glover, so in the 9th place, Mirko Tirrena. Well, let's see Keller where he ends up. 179. It's ahead of the Mercedes of Luke Prentice. So Keller still ahead of the Prentice. The undercut did not work for Luke. So it will be Codoneso, Poletti, D'Amica, Sharpe, Keller in 5th place and Prentice in P6 ahead of Vaza Pop. Well, now we'll wait for the final pit stop of the GT3 cars with Stefano Gianelli still continuing, also Domenico Russo. Let's see if Overland will continue as well or he will decide that enough is enough. Yes, enough is enough. The Norwegian Overland comes to the pit lane and it's free track for Andrea Marcella. And look at Gianelli now has to get his way past the traffic of the GT4 cars, and that's the same for Domenico Russo. That's why I had some concerns regarding the strategy contact between the up car and Gianelli has lost it in the Mercedes arena. That's when you play with fire, you end up with burning it. So Stefano Gianelli collects damage, and Domenico Russo for now is leader of the race until, of course, the mandatory pit stop. But why did they not come in for the mandatory pit stop? That's a useless risk they took, and they end up paying for it, especially Domenico Russo, because now with all this traffic they will lose a couple of time, and Russo flashes and Gianelli flashes ahead of the GT4 car, but that's your fault, my friend. That's your fault, because you have to be aware to take attention. And look, almost another contact, and goes into the gravel, and the Max Schumacher has again. That's a lot of time that Stefano Gianelli is losing now. That's not the way you want to lap those GT4 cars. Meanwhile, Domenico Russo now with a huge gap on Stefano Gianelli. It will be hard to keep the podium spot, but let's see what we'll do. And Domenico Russo decided after the misses of this lap to come into the pits and do a mandatory pit stop. And also Stefano Gianelli wakes up and decides, okay, I cannot delay any further. And so Russo and Gianelli come for the final pit stop of the race. Andrea Marcella will take back the lead of the race regarding GT3 and absolute rankings. Ravensberger will reclaim 4th place, but for 3rd place, did Russo and Gianelli loss of times prove costly, especially considering Gareth Harvey is coming in faster. They're still stopped in the pit lane. Russo and Gianelli, while Harvey is now approaching the final chicane, turn 14 and 15. Russo restarts now. I believe it will be tight between Russo and Harvey. Russo is exiting the pit lane. Harvey now is exiting all speed away from the final corner. Russo now puts off the limiter. Let's see if Russo can somehow manage to stay ahead of Harvey. Yes, he can. And Domenico Russo, if he does not commit any mistakes, he will claim 3rd place. Glover on the inside of Harvey, turn 1. That's a fight for 4th place between Harvey. Contact. Harvey almost lost it. And they still finding Harvey stays ahead of Glover. Aggressive driver for both the Bentley and the Ford drivers. Glover is not done yet. He's not done yet. And will try everything to take the position of Bentley onto the RT on the straight into turn 6. Harvey still ahead of Glover. But what a risk they also took. They both ended up, however, ahead of Janelli, who finished behind Overland. Yes, it is. Really intense battle now between Harvey and Glover. After the pit stop, the situation is clear. Harvey and Glover are contending for place at the moment. Harvey was protagonist of really aggressive defense, as well as Glover did. But how will this battle adapt? That's a yellow flag. A car entered the pit lane, car number 199, and it's Stefano Giannelli, and I believe it will be game over for the Italian, the Mercedes, after the contact with the lapped car. And that's a shame. It could have possibly fought for a podium spot, but decided that to play with fire, to play with the lapped cars too much, but it ended to cost dearly for him. Now back in the final 10 minutes of the race in the GT3. Harvey Glover fighting for 4th place. Glover still in the tail of the Continental GT3 of Team Harvey's long-lost cousin. But Brandon still not giving up. Ready to use all the horsepower and the top speed of the American Mustang. All in the pursuit of 4th place. Meanwhile, in the GT4, Codoleso with a dead demanding lead, while D'Amica and Marco Poletti will be fighting, presume, with 2nd place, with D'Amica trying to move, really escape from the McLaren driver, Marco Poletti really not giving up, even though the lapping of a car of the Ferrari of Loshod cost him some time, but Poletti is still fighting and he's still in pursuit of D'Amica. So, as we enter the last 10 minutes of the race, let's jump for the last on board. This time is for GT3, Marco Poletti. Here it is, fighting with D'Amica to reach him and try and overtake on board with the McLaren. So as you can see, Marco Poletti still trying to catch up on Matteo D'Amica. but it's proving to be more and more difficult as D'Amica is getting away from the hands of Poletti, and so he will aim to strengthen his P2 and claim a silver trophy for tonight's event at Nurburgring. While ahead is still Harvey against Glover for 4th place. Harvey still ahead of the Britman in the Ford Mustang. The two British men fighting hard for 4th place, and of course it will be a battle based pure skill, because both Bentley for Mustang equal in raw speed, in power of their engines, and on the characteristic similar between the Continental and the Mustang, maybe some difference in the entry corners and the stability, but they're both equal, really similar vehicles, and so it will all come down to ability as we enter in a couple of seconds the last 6 minutes of the race, the multi-class first day, round 4 of the season, and Nurburgring. It's all decided already in the lead of both classes. We have Dramasella and Kenzo Condoneso aiming to claim the top step of the podium, but who will claim the other steps? With a fight between Russo, Harvey and Glover in the GT3, and between D'Amica and Poletti, but now Poletti has given up in GT4. And look at this, Glover now still following very closely the Bentley of Harvey, while behind the GT4 class I can see Gerbino approaching Pospisil in the fight for 7th place of the class. Watch out also for those GT4 back markers. They have to be careful. They managed to avoid, but the Ginetta really having a short stick as Kruger lost it out to Sebastien, who managed to overtake the Ginetta driver. And let's see if Glover can take advantage of the slipstream to make another move, but it's a little bit too... Oh, and he tries Glover! Tries still Glover from a long way range on the turn 1, and he manages to close the gap to take the position of Harvey. A great overtake by Brandon Glover, who takes 4th place with an audacious dive bomb and a calculated dive bomb on Harvey to take 4th place, and that's important, especially in the optic of the championship, because Glover will claim a few points more to overtake Prentice and take 2nd place in the championship behind the alien Andrea Marcella, who really has no rivals at this point. Great move by Brandon Glover. And we have less than 4 minutes ahead. Andrea Marcella starting lap number 22. Andrea Marcella has a big advantage to defend, but the main question is what will he do now with the time that he has left? Because I think there's still a possibility that Marcella could slow down and do only 2 laps opposed to 3 laps, because if you do 3 laps you could possibly make your opponents go in crisis with the fuels, and someone may not even be able to reach the finish line. 3 minutes and 8 now. Andrea Marcella approaching the Dunlop curve. We're still with Marcella, considering no other battles are falling down the track. Glover has put 1 second between him and Harvey. And so, if not in the event of a collision or a mistake, a spin, the ranking, the table is already decided. There's only time to see how many laps will be left of this race in the Nurburgring. Andrea Masella still pushing really hard, even if there is no need to, because he had this one in the bag. 2 minutes and 10 seconds. I believe Masella will go for 3 laps. Now 1 lap of this is completed. This could be the final lap if Masella slows down, but there's no sign of him. There's no sign of him ever slowing down. We want to see Harvey. He cannot hold the pace of Brandon Glover. So you have to watch out by Mirko Tirrena, who will be furious for his mistake or for whatever happened in the midway stage of this race. Considering he's wanting to fight for possible the podium spot. Now he wants to approach the Bentley or Harvey. Try to see if there is any room to make an attempt for 5th place. Oh, and Harvey goes with 4 whistles to the grass at the exit of turn 15. Harvey's a little bit of trouble. Let's see if Tirrena can manage to attempt an overtake.
Window is now closed.
Pit window closed. Harvey is having some problems with Broken. Broken having trouble to left room for both Harvey and Tirrena, considering it's already lapped between the GT3 cars. Some unnecessary behavior by the Belgian driver, but Tirrena now is in the back of Harvey. 35 seconds left to the clock, and Masella still pushing. Oh, and that's a yellow flag after the Michael Schumacher has. That's car number 37, and that's Adam Schape, who was in fight with Luke Prentice. Schape lost the place to Prentice, and lost the place to Keller, now lost the place also to Pospisil. No, not quite to Pospisil yet, but let's see now Masella. And it started the final lap with 10 seconds to spare. Let's see if this will end up causing a lot of trouble for some of the drivers behind, because time is up. But all this time we have to cut the line and take 1 other lap till the end of the race. This could be interesting, as Harvey really having some trouble in the final stage of the race. And so Mirko Tirrena is trying to throw everything at him to clinch at least a top 5 finish. Meanwhile, Schape and Pospisil fighting for P18 overall, which is P6 in the GT4 class. Pospisil and Schape neck to neck in turn 1. Pospisil from the outside of turn 1 and managed to complete the move. Schape is still fighting till the last minute, but eventually he will have to concede. So Pospisil is ahead of Adam Schape. Great fight between these 2 class drivers, these 2 gentlemen, if someone would assume. To see now, Mirko Tirrena with Harvey. Harvey having some problems now with a GT4 driver who moves out of the way. It was Sherry Moore in the Ginetta. Tirrena has the advantage, maybe better tires, a better traction, but he has the deficit of top speed, so he will have to make a move now before the main straight, otherwise it will all be down to nothing. While Andrea Masella exiting the chicane now into the final corner, the Coca-Cola curve. And so for Andrea Masella is another clean sweep job, pole position, fastened up, a 4th race victory out of 4th. He takes the checker flag and triumphs at Nurburgring. An astonishing race by Andrea Masella. But we are waiting also for the other drivers to cut the checker flag. Kenzo Kononezu takes his first win of the season in GT4 class and breaks the Italian streak. Great job by the Belgian ahead of D'Amica and Poletti, who round up the podium. Meanwhile, Ramsberger will be joining Marcelo on the podium, 2nd place very shortly. The McLaren driver from Switzerland marks his debut in the best possible way, winning the 2nd place that is basically best of the rest. and a great performance by Nurburgring. Second, ahead of Domenico Russo, who claims third, ahead of Brendan Glover and Mirko Tirenna, who at the end had to consider Glover. Then, let's see, Prentice also at the checkered flag, P6 for him. Then Harvey managed to take P7. Adam Big will claim 8th place. Then Patrick Postel in P9, ahead of Overland and Shod. And this would be the GT3 cars to end the race. Then in the GT4, it's Colonello, Puletti, Prentice, Keller, Pospisil, Schaffner, Gerbino, Sherry Moore, Smith, Litti, Lamming, Kruger, and Sebastian will be the last one to see the checkered flag as he following Lamming. He's getting closer, but not quite enough for him, so Sebastian will be the last one to cut the checkered flag. But as you can see, it's another well done job, an Italian job for Andrea Marcella, who, as you can see by the final result, takes another victory on Nurburgring. 4 victories out of 4 races. Try to stop it now. Lars Wambesberger marks his debut with the 2nd place. Domenico Russo concludes a great first day with his first podium placement in 3rd place, ahead of Brendan Glover, then Mirko Tirenna, Jack Prentice, Gareth Harvey, Adam Bick, Patrick Foster, and Overland to round out the top 10. While in the GT4, we have Kenzo Colonello winning ahead of Matteo D'Amica, Marco Poletti, then Luke Prentice, Keller, Pospisil, Chappe, and Serafino Gerbino in P20 overall. Just a little reminder of the final results here, where you can see then Sherry Moore, Smith, Litti, Lamming, Kruger, Sebastian Twiddle, the last one to finish the race, while Giannelli, De Muster, Brown, and Infantino did not manage to complete the race. Infantino did not manage even to start the race. And that's the end of the live streaming, live coverage for today. Thank you everyone to joining us. I hope you enjoyed today's action here at the Nurburgring. Reminder, the Sunday will be back with the Sunday Sprint Championship, and then next week will be all popular stuff and moving to Zandvoort for round number 5 of the season 23 on Assetto Corsa Competizione. But for today, it's everything. I'm Andrea Mattavelli, and I wish you a very good evening and a good night.